So I guess it's time to have a look at our Proxmox. It's been 5 months since we deployed the Proxmox and we had a bunch of installs. Some of them got removed, some of them are still remaining. Right now, what is left is the previous projects that we did, like we have our Ubuntu, our Windows server, the Pi-hole, which was quite recent, and then we had the Zabbix test. Those were not shown because I'm still testing a bunch of stuff. Then I realized that instead of deploying, it's easier to have one VM for Ubuntu in this example just for cloning. So I'm cloning the exact same settings as opposed of creating a new VM and follow all that configuration. So it retains the initial configuration. This is bare bones, doesn't have anything on it. And so far, I'm pretty happy with the system. CPU wise, the consumption, even though we have all of them running, is not that bad. But when we're looking at the memory, we are at 81%. Storage, the same. Okay, storage doesn't really matter because we can upgrade that as well as the RAM. But for what we are doing in testing, a couple of things, and this is not a production instance. I do have at work, I do have a full Proxmox in production where I have three independent nodes. Um, as you can see, we only have one node because it's installed in one machine. In the place that I'm working, I have two production nodes and one is for backups. That being said, if you remember from the previous videos, we have the Zabbix. It's been running since pretty much when we did the first video. I had a power cut at home. I turned it on, but then by mistake, I kind of closed it. It was closed for a couple of days, and then when I realized on our previous video, well, actually 2 videos ago, 2 weeks ago, I restarted it again. We managed to gather some phenomenal data in terms of CPU, RAM, memory, network usage, so on and so forth. Um, I'm testing it on a variety. Right now, I have two nodes that are running Ubuntu. Node test. Let's see if I remember the password. Been a while since I logged in, but should be right. So a bunch of updates. I don't know if I really want to do this right now to update the systems, but I'm pretty much gonna do it soon. Those two node tests have a Zabbix agent installed. Right now, if I go back to the main one, uh, 1 second to log in. Right now, this one is the main one where we have Zabbix and Pi-hole installed into a container. Um, Pi-hole is doing its job, even though we had a bunch of errors, but I had to clear the list and add them again. Now they're re-added, reloaded. One thing with Pi-hole, every time you're gonna do a update of the list, you need to hit on update gravity and hit it once. It will tell you if it's a success and everything should work fine. On Windows Server, actually I was working in a couple of group policies. I'm going to explain it in a future video. Uh, let's log in. I'm pretty sure I literally started updating it. Not sure if the updates are, yeah, I'm gonna restart it now. Windows will be part of Windows Server will be part of the Zabbix test as well. But what we have here is, if you remember from the Pi-hole video, we had literally turning on and turning off all the ads. Right now it's working. We can see double. It keeps on working. So Pi-hole on its own is doing its job. Sometimes you will have to pay attention to the warnings. But right now, as long as we don't have any error here, we are good to go. So we're gonna leave this running. Another thing that by watching some other content creators in the field, I've noticed some adjustments that we can make when it comes down to memory usage, where you can minimize the memory usage. And to do that, we actually have to, even if you have it created, there is a way to change it. If you go to memory and click on edit, you can literally add the ballooning device, which means that you're gonna give it a lower value. For instance, we can double down and we're gonna have 4086. If we do it this way, we will have to restart the module, the VM. But the thing with this, I've noticed, I did a couple of tests. If you do that, this VM will become the guest. So if we are looking at our main Ubuntu, and if we go to summary, we're gonna see this one, it's taking up most of the memory that we allocated to it. So let's say in the future, if we add other projects and they will run on this VM, like we have the Pi-hole and the Zabbix, if we're gonna add something else like maybe Unify, maybe AdGuard, maybe some other projects that will be in the future, we will literally gonna need more RAM. And one way to don't, let's say, scrub everything, or to, you can literally just go here and increase it this way simply by adjusting the number here. But with ballooning, if we use the other nodes, the other VMs, and we choose to go with ballooning, actually we do have, if you see this one, it's balloon, because I did the tests, like I've said. This will become the guest. Now what's happening here, if I want to use the whole 8 gigs of memory, I will literally have to restart the one that is consuming the most to reallocate the memory for this VM where we have the ballooning in place. Now this is not a huge deal. If you have a couple of test machines, you can literally just use it as it is depending on your RAM. But since those two are literally just for cloning, this one was for testing, I just wanted to see um, what resources we end up using. And for our case scenario, we cannot deploy more VMs, but we can create containers, because containers usually use much less resources. This one also have a swap, but that's something else entirely. And by the way, if you remember the scripts, this was when we launched the scripts, it automatically selected the CPU, memory, and all the other settings. Now, one way to increase your memory is turn off whatever you're not using, like so, and maybe this one as well. And that should downscale the usage of memory. Let's see if we are not by much, because those two VMs in particular are bare bones, like I mentioned. They have nothing installed, nothing running except the Ubuntu um, Linux OS. Memory dropped by a little bit, 9%, 10%, not bad. We could literally turn off other machines as well, but when you're in a test environment, and I don't know why this didn't restart. Okay, now the memory will probably most likely jump higher than that, because Windows, and it will most likely jump by a lot. Let's see. And we'll go to red most likely, like this one, while it's updating. But regardless, um, I'm very happy with Proxmox. As I mentioned before, I did a little bit of digging. I've watched other content creators. It is a very powerful tool where you can experiment with pretty much anything open source that has a community that backs up the projects. Even though I didn't have a lot of time due to work to land more services or more containers, but at some point we're gonna test out Docker, Kubernetes, and some other cool projects that I've seen. Yeah, that's pretty much where we at with our little project. And to be honest, there isn't much else to say. It's an awesome product. If you do want to experiment on your home lab or you want to start a home lab, this is the go-to VM. That being said, thank you all for joining and listening. If you like the video, please like. If you dislike, dislike. And hope to see you next time.